Rightio, we're live. So, well, maybe not live. I think we're recording at least. G'day, my name's Mark, and this is, well, what is this? This is a podcast, maybe, a diary, a journal, a bit of self-reflection, me putting stuff out into the world. So today's my birthday. Happy birthday. 53, 4th of December 1971. And some of you will know me. I'm a psychologist. I'm a dad. I'm a military veteran. Depending on the day, I'm a farmer or a office administration manager for my partner. But certainly what I've become over the last couple of years is a procrastinator. So this podcast and or journal and or blog and or whatever it's going to turn into has been floating around in my head for probably 5 years, becoming a little bit clearer over the last probably 2, and really just been sitting there waiting to be birthed into the world. In other words, when I get off my ass and actually decide to put something out there. Well, what am I trying to do? Well, I guess the short question is I'm not entirely sure, and that's where hopefully you come in building a relationship, building a conversation around the ideas that I'm interested in exploring, and hopefully you are too, and ultimately maybe co-creating something. And I guess those ideas revolve around us, about humans. So it's probably not surprising that as a psychologist, I'm interested in what makes us tick and how to make that better. And that's probably a key point. So for those of you that don't know me very well, my particular approach to psychology has always been about performance enhancement. So how do we get the best out of ourselves? And maybe there's a podcast there about my background, although there's a couple out there. If you Google Mark Matheson, you'll probably find a few podcasts where I've been interviewed by other people. And that's probably a good way to get to know me rather than me rehashing all that stuff. But the culmination of that is really about what makes us 100% human, particularly now, because I guess if you haven't been living under a rock, you'd know that there's certainly some very interesting stuff going on in not only our community here in Australia, but globally, which kind of appears a little bit like a bit of an existential crisis. Maybe that's an overstatement. Maybe we've been around this circle as a culture or as a species before, but it certainly seems prescient in some of the key sort of global and or local events that are going on. So there's climate change, there's American politics with Donald Trump just being re-elected. There's obviously some pretty significant conflicts in the Middle East. There's a whole lot of, navel gazing going on here in Australia about our relationship with the land and Indigenous populations. There are some fascinating things going on in the field of psychology around eco-psychology, for want of a better term, how we reconnect, are disconnected from nature. But all of these things for me seem to tie together, and that is, fundamentally we've kind of disconnected from the life support processes of the planet in many ways. And we're off on a trajectory, whether you see that as climate change or economic collapse or political, social disruption. It doesn't appear to be getting better. It sort of appears to be trending towards something, from some significant realignment. Anyway, so my hope is to explore that topic, to interview and talk to a really broad range of people that might come at that topic of reconnecting us with limits, with an ecological sort of system that is whole and sustainable in the longer term, and to really flesh out, what does that look like? How does it work? How does it relate to us and make us whole and make us healthy, which is obviously what psychology really is about, and how do we take humans out of the middle of that process, rather than thinking that the world revolves around us, maybe reassessing that and coming to understand that we fit within a bigger system, and we've possibly overstepped some of those boundaries. Anyhow, hopefully that's enough of a teaser to get you interested. If there's something in there that you're curious about, by all means, join the ride. Like, follow, subscribe. I'm going to try and put one of these out every week. It might just be me babbling for a little while until we can get a few, maybe a few interviews. But tell me your thoughts. Tell me who you'd like to see me talk to. Maybe it's you. And make some suggestions, ask some questions. I'm happy to probably pitch in once every week and do a Ask Me Anything type session, and I'll take those questions, whether you submit them via email or blog or a YouTube video, heaven forbid, and continue that conversation to see if we can't unpack a few things. All for feedback, all for suggestions. As I say, this could very much just be me shouting into the echo chamber of my own mind for some time. But hopefully a few of you might come along on the journey and have enough time to join me on that process, at least for a short period of time. So like, share it, subscribe, suggest it to people that you think might be interested in joining the conversation. I'm a pretty warts and all sort of guy, so it might be a bit rough around the edges, and we'll build a few things along the way and maybe tear a few things down. But let's see where it takes us. Thanks. Hope to see you on the journey.